The girl in the dark. The dark was heavy. It pressed against her skin like cold water. She could not see her hands. She could not see anything. The girl opened her eyes, but nothing changed. Her head hurt. Her body hurt. Her stomach twisted with hunger. She lay on a hard metal floor, the sound of slow, dying beeps filling the air. Somewhere above her, small sparks flashed, painting the walls in short bursts of white. She tried to remember her name. Nothing came. She tried to remember her home. Flashes appeared. A sky with 3 moons, tall crystal towers, the warm touch of someone's hand. Then, fire, screams, silence. The girl sat up. She was cold, too cold. Her thin skin trembled, her ribs pressing against it. She had no clothes, only a strip of torn fabric around her waist. She hugged herself, but it didn't help. Where was she? The smell told her before her eyes did. Burnt metal. The ship, if that's what this was, had been destroyed. She crawled forward. Her knees scraped the floor. Every movement made her dizzy. She reached the door, but it wouldn't open. She pressed her ear to it. No sound. Her breath came fast. Her heart pounded. She was alone. Completely alone. A sudden noise made her freeze. A deep, distant hum. Not from this ship. From outside. Her mind raced. Could it be rescue? Or the ones who had killed her people? Light began to grow. Faint at first, then brighter, bleeding in through the cracks in the door. It wasn't white light. It was gold. Warm. She crawled back into the shadows, hiding behind a broken chair. Her thin hands clutched a shard of metal like a knife. The hum grew louder. A new sound joined it. A heavy clunk, the hiss of air. The door shuddered, then burst open. She covered her eyes. Asterisk footsteps. Heavy, slow, deliberate. Not the click of claws. Not the slither of scales. She peeked between her fingers, and her heart stopped. A figure stepped into the room. Tall, broad shoulders. A strange shape on his head. A helmet with a black glass face. His chest was covered in white armor. His hands, in thick gloves, held a strange black stick that pointed straight at her. She had never seen a creature like this. The figure froze. Then he lowered the weapon. A voice came through the helmet, deep, human. Don't be afraid. She didn't move. The man knelt down. His hand reached up to his helmet and twisted. There was a hiss, and then he pulled it off. She stared. His skin was pale, his hair dark. His eyes, she had never seen eyes like that. Not glowing, not flat, but alive. Warm. I'm not going to hurt you, he said softly. You're safe now. Safe. She didn't know that word. Asterisk 2 more figures appeared behind him. They spoke quickly in a language she didn't know. One pointed at her, frowning. The other shook their head. The man turned to them and said something sharp. They went silent. He looked back at her. Can you stand? She shook her head. He set his helmet down and stepped forward slowly, as if approaching an injured animal. He took off his thick jacket and wrapped it around her. The warmth shocked her. She almost pulled away. It's okay, he said again. You're freezing. The jacket smelled strange, like metal and smoke, but also something clean. He lifted her up in his arms. She was so light, he carried her as if she weighed nothing. Her head rested against his chest, and she could hear the deep beat of his heart. It was steady, strong. They moved through a long metal tunnel that connected the ruined ship to another. His ship was different. The air was warm. The light was soft, golden white. The walls hummed with energy. Crew members stopped to stare. Some whispered. She didn't know the words, but she could feel it in their tone. Fear, curiosity, distrust. The man ignored them. He carried her into a small room. The walls were smooth. There was a bed, soft and white, and strange objects on the shelves. He set her down gently. "You can rest here," he said. "I'll get you food. Water." She looked at him. Her mouth opened, but no words came. He smiled faintly. "You don't have to talk. Just stay here. You're safe." Asterisk, when he left, she sat on the bed and stared at the door. Safe. The word echoed in her head. She had heard that word once before, long ago. It had been a lie. She hugged the jacket closer and listened to the faint hum of the ship. Somewhere outside, she could hear the deep voice of the man arguing with others. Didn't trust her. Maybe they shouldn't. Her people were gone. Her home was gone. She had nothing left except a small, sharp thought in the back of her mind. If she wasn't careful, she would lose the only thing she had found today, and she didn't even know. His name. Asterisk, the stranger's ship. The girl didn't sleep. The bed was soft, the blanket warm, but her mind stayed sharp, like a knife waiting to be used. Every sound in this strange ship felt like a threat. The low hum of the engines, the faint hiss of air vents, the metallic footsteps echoing outside her door. Jacket the man had given her still wrapped around her thin frame. It was too big, but it hid her trembling. She didn't want anyone to see her fear. Asterisk, the door hissed open. It was him, the tall human with the dark hair and steady eyes. He stepped inside, holding a metal tray. The smell hit her first. Warm bread, something salty, and a cup of clear water. "You need to eat," he said. She didn't move. Her eyes stayed locked on him. "I'm Elias," he continued, "captain of this ship." He set the tray down, then stepped back, keeping his hands visible. "No one will hurt you here. Not while I'm captain." His voice was calm, but she could feel the weight behind it. She reached for the bread. It was soft, warm. She tore off a piece and ate. Elias didn't leave. He just watched her, not like a hunter, but like a man studying a puzzle he didn't understand. Outside, voices rose, sharp, angry. The girl froze, listening. A door somewhere down the hall slid open. Heavy boots thudded on the floor. The voices grew louder. Elias swore under his breath. "Stay here." He left, and the door hissed shut. The moment it closed, she slipped off the bed and pressed her ear against it. The voices were clearer now. "She's dangerous. Elias, you don't know what she is. I know she's alive. That's enough. For me, you found her in a dead ship. What if she's the reason it's dead? She's just a girl. You don't know that." Asterisk, a pause. Then another voice, quieter, almost a whisper. "Do you know how much someone would pay for a specimen like that?" Her blood went cold. She stepped back from the door, her hands shaking. Specimen. They didn't see her as a person. She scanned the small room. One vent in the corner. A narrow panel on the wall that hummed faintly. Maybe a control system. No windows. If they wanted to sell her, she wouldn't even see it coming. The door hissed open again. Elias stood there, his expression unreadable. "Won't bother you," he said. "Eat. Rest." She sat back on the bed, silent, her eyes never leaving him. He sighed. "You don't trust me. That's fine. But I'm not like them." She didn't answer. Hours passed. She pretended to sleep, but her ears stayed awake. Somewhere far off, an alarm chirped. Short bursts. Urgent. The ship shuddered. A deep rumble filled the air. Then the voice of the ship's AI, calm but cold. Incoming vessel detected. Closing fast. She sat up. Her heartbeat matched the rumble. The intercom crackled. A voice, not human, hissed through the speakers. "Human. Vessel, we know you have her. Hand her over, and no one dies." Her stomach dropped. They weren't talking about a random prisoner. They were talking about her. She moved to the vent, pressing her ear against it. Outside, boots pounded the floor. Orders were shouted. The ship's engines roared louder. She could hear Elias again, his voice hard, sharp. Battle stations. No one touches her. No one. But the other voice, deep, gruff, cut through. Elias, they're offering to let us live if we give her up. Think about the crew. Pause. Then Elias, low and dangerous. I'm thinking about them. And I'm thinking about her. The girl backed away from the vent. Her breathing was fast. Now, who were these people chasing her? Why did they want her so badly? And why? Why would a human she just met risk his crew to protect her? She didn't know, but she knew one thing: this wasn't over. Not even close, because somewhere, in the deepest part of her mind, a memory stirred, a flash of light, a voice screaming her name, and then a secret so dangerous she had buried it even from herself. The first attack. The girl had never heard war before. Not like this. The ship shook under her feet. Somewhere deep below, metal screamed as if the walls themselves were in pain. Lights flashed red. The air tasted sharp, like burned wires. She crouched in the corner, gripping the too big jacket around her. Through the door, she could hear humans shouting, short, clipped words, the kind you use when every second matters. The voice came again over the speakers, louder this time. Last chance, human vessel. Hand over the alien girl, or be destroyed. Alien girl. Her stomach twisted. They didn't even know her name, but they knew enough to hunt her. The door hissed open, so fast she flinched. Elias stood there, helmet on now, black visor hiding. His eyes, his voice was urgent. Stay low. Don't leave this room, no matter what you hear. He turned to leave, but she grabbed his arm. Why? One word, small, but sharp. He paused, then said something that made her chest tighten. Because if they get you, everything burns. Then he was gone. The hum of the engines grew into a roar. Through the vent, she caught pieces of the crews. Voices, shields at 30. They're coming around for another run. Target their main gun, no. Wait, they're locking on. A heavy boom slammed through the ship. The lights went out. For 3 long seconds, there was only the sound of her own breathing in the dark. Then the emergency lights kicked in, cold blue, casting everything in ghostly shadows. She couldn't stay in the room. Not anymore, She moved to the vent and pulled hard. The panel popped off with a snap. She slid inside, the narrow tunnel forcing her to crawl on elbows and knees. The sound of the battle was louder here, metal shaking, blasts echoing through the hull. She crawled toward the noise. Another grate. She saw the bridge. Humans worked frantically at glowing screens, their faces pale in the blue light. And outside, through the massive front window, she saw them. The enemy ship was huge, black and silver. Its hull shimmered like oil. Strange markings crawled across it, glowing in sickly green patterns. It didn't move like a normal ship. It flowed, twisting in ways metal shouldn't. And on its prow, a symbol burned, a spiral around a black sun. She knew that symbol. Her blood ran cold. A voice hissed over the enemy's open channel. She carries what belongs to us. The seed. Give her to us, human, or your stars will go dark. The seed. Her breath caught. Memories slammed into her. A chamber of crystal. Voices chanting. A sphere of light so bright it hurt to look at. Hands pushing it into hers. A whisper in her ear. Run. A blast shook the bridge. Sparks rained down on the crew. She saw Elias gripping the controls. All batteries fire. On my mark. Captain, shields won't hold another hit. They won't need to. Elias growled. He slammed his fist on the console. The ship lurched, spinning fast, diving under the enemy's firing arc. The view shifted so fast, she felt dizzy. "Mark!" Elias shouted. The humans fired. Wall of light lanced across the dark. The enemy ship twisted away, green markings flaring like angry wounds. For a moment, she thought they might win. Then the enemy launched something small, a needle of black metal that shot across space and slammed into the human ship's hull. The lights flickered. The crew shouted, "Boarding spike, they're coming in." She backed away from the grate. If they were boarding, they weren't here to fight. They were here to take her. And if they found her, Elias's ship would burn exactly like he'd warned. She needed to move, now. But as she turned in the vent, something caught her eye, a shadow moving inside the metal with her. A shadow with eyes. The truth in the engine room. The thing in the vent moved wrong. Not crawling, not slithering. It folded through the space, like a shadow that forgot how shadows worked. Two pale eyes floated in the dark. Unblinking, the girl's breath caught. She scrambled backward, elbows scraping metal. The thing followed. Without sound dot, then dash bang. The vent wall to her left caved in, bent by something hitting it from outside. A blast of cold air swept through. She grabbed the opening and pulled herself out before the shadow could reach her. She dropped into a narrow corridor. Blue emergency lights blinked, painting the walls in stuttering flashes. Somewhere nearby, boots pounded the floor. Humans. Running toward the fight. She ran the other way. Every turn led her deeper into the ship, away from voices, away from safety, straight toward the deep hum she'd felt earlier. It was pulling her. She found herself in a huge chamber, the engine room. The air was hot, buzzing with raw power. Towers of metal and glowing coils surrounded a massive core in the center, pulsing with white-blue light. But it wasn't the core that froze her. It was the small object on the floor, tucked in the shadow of a coolant pipe. Her pod. She dropped. To her knees, hands brushing over the dented metal. She thought it had been left behind in the wreck. But someone had brought it here. The hatch was open. Inside, the same thing she remembered from flashes in her mind. A sphere. Small enough to hold in both hands. Made of crystal, but alive, shifting with light that flowed like water. The seed. Her breath quickened. She remembered the voices, the chanting, the day her world burned. The seed wasn't a weapon. It was a key to the last refuge of her. People, a hidden planet untouched by the enemy. If they found it, her people would die. All of them. A voice came from behind her. "I was hoping you'd lead me to it." She spun around. It wasn't Elias. It was a human from the crew. Tall, lean, with cold eyes and a scar running down his cheek. He held the pistol loosely in his hand, as if he didn't even need to aim. "You don't know what that thing is?" She said. "Oh, I do," he replied. "It's a payday. One I've been waiting for my whole life." He stepped closer. "The captain's too noble to take it. I'm not." Her hands tightened around the seed. Its light flared for a moment. Warm against her skin. "Hand it over, and maybe I won't toss you out an airlock before we dock." Her eyes darted to the engine core. Its pulsing light reflected in the crystal sphere, and for a split second, something impossible happened. She saw not just the room, not just the man. She saw his thoughts, the betrayal, the greed, the way he'd disabled the ship's sensors to hide from Elias. The seed was showing her the truth. The man took another step, and his shadow stretched unnaturally on the floor. Long, wrong. Her blood went cold. That shadow didn't belong to him. It was moving against the light. Before he noticed, the shadow rose up behind him, two pale eyes opening in the dark. The man froze. "What the?" The shadow struck. He screamed once before the sound was cut. Short, his body hit the floor, and the shadow melted back into the walls. The corridor was silent again. The girl clutched the seed, her chest heaving. She didn't know what the shadow was. But she knew this. It wasn't here for the humans, Dot. It was here for her. Somewhere above, the ship groaned under another blast. The lights flickered. Elias's voice cracked through the intercom. "Engine room, report. We've got seconds before they breach the bridge." She stared at the seed. If she told Elias what it really was, she'd be handing him the power to find her people. If she kept it secret, the humans might die before they even knew why. Either choice could doom someone. She looked up at the sound of heavy footsteps. Elias burst into the room, helmet in his hand, sweat running down his face. His eyes went from her to the seed glowing in her hands, and in that moment, she knew. He understood exactly what it was. Dot. Asterisk the choice. Elias didn't say a word at first. His eyes locked on the seed in her hands, and for a moment, he looked like someone who had just found a loaded gun pointed at their own head. "How long?" he finally said, voice low. "Were you going to hide that from me?" She gripped the crystal sphere tighter. "It's not yours." His jaw tightened. "No, but it's dangerous. And if those things out there get it, they'll kill my people," she cut in. "Every last one." The ship trembled. Somewhere close, metal screamed as something tore through the hull. Elias stepped closer, his voice hard now. "If you want to save anyone, you give it to me." She shook her head. "If I give it to you, humans will take it, use it, and my people will still die." A faint alarm wailed through the engine room. The AI's voice followed, cold and calm. "Boarding parties have breached decks 4 and 6. Bridge integrity compromised." Elias swore under his breath. "You don't get it," he said. "This isn't just your fight. Whatever you're running from, it's coming for everyone." She hesitated. The seed pulsed in her hands, warm, almost alive. It seemed to listen, and suddenly, like before, it showed her something. Not a memory. A future. She saw Elias, standing on the bridge, firing at enemies she couldn't see. She saw the ship in flames, air screaming out into the void. She saw herself alone again, drifting in another escape pod. Dot, and worst of all, she saw the black sun symbol burning over a dead world. Dot, her world. Asterisk, the vision snapped away. Elias was still in front of her, but now his face was closer, his voice softer. "Trust me," he said. "I can protect it. I can protect you." Something in his tone almost made her believe him. Almost. A loud clang echoed down the hall. Then another. And then the sound of boots, heavy, inhuman, coming closer. Elias pulled a sidearm from his belt and moved toward the door. "We're out of time. Give it to me, or we both die right here." Her heart pounded. If she gave him the seed, she was giving away the last hope of her people. If she didn't, he'd fight blind against something she knew he couldn't stop. The footsteps were almost at the door now. She looked at Elias, looked at the seed, and made her choice. The door exploded inward. 3 figures stepped through the smoke. Tall, armored in black metal, faces hidden behind masks carved like bone. Their weapons hissed with green energy. The one in front pointed straight at her. The seed, now. Elias moved between them and her, weapon raised. "Over my dead body." The leader's mask tilted slightly. "That can be arranged." She didn't wait. She grabbed the seed in both hands, and for the first time, she willed it to do something. It obeyed. Light burst from the crystal, pure, blinding, alive. The enemy shouted, their weapons sparking uselessly in their hands. Elias shielded, his eyes shouting over the roar. "What did you just do?" She didn't answer, because the seed wasn't just glowing anymore. It was pulling her away. The engine room, Elias, the ship, all of it began to dissolve into light, and the last thing she heard was Elias's voice breaking through the noise. Don't. Leave me. Asterisk, the final battle, the light swallowed her whole. For a moment, there was no ship, no noise, no cold metal under her feet. Only a blinding storm of white and the strange, slow thump of a heartbeat that wasn't hers. Then the light faded. She was standing in a vast open space. Not space as she knew it. Not black and endless, but glowing and alive. Streams of silver light twisted through the air like rivers. Giant shapes floated in the distance, shards of crystal, turning. Slowly, each one the size of a mountain dot. It was beautiful. It was wrong. Because it wasn't real dots she turned, looking for the seed, but it was gone. Or maybe she was inside it. Asterisk, a voice spoke. Not from behind her. Not from in front of her. From everywhere. You are the last key. Her chest tightened. Who are you? I am the seed. I am what your people built to survive. The rivers of light moved faster now, swirling around her. You carry me to the hidden world. I carry you to safety, but the hunters follow. They always follow. The black sun symbol burned briefly in the silver air, and her stomach turned. She clenched her fists. If you can hide me, why not hide my people? The seed's voice slowed, as if speaking through pain. I cannot reach them unless you choose, unless you trust another. Another. She knew who it meant. Elias. Asterisk, before she could answer, the silver world cracked. A roar tore through the light, metal and fire and screaming voices. The rivers of light shattered into sparks. The seed's voice grew sharp. They have found the vessel. Your protector fights, but the hunters are winning. Her heart thudded hard. Take me back. You may die. She gritted her teeth. Then we die together. The light ripped open, and she fell. She hit the floor hard. The engine room was gone. She was in a corridor now, smoke filling. The air, walls torn open to the void. Red lights flashed. Bodies lay where they'd fallen. A blast shook the ship. She ran toward the sound. She found the bridge, or what was left of it. Half the ceiling was gone, torn away by weapons fire. Stars spun overhead. Elias stood in the center, armor scorched, blood on his face. His rifle spat fire at black armored. Hunters pushing through the breach. When he saw her, his expression flickered, shock, then relief, then anger all at once. You left, he shouted over the gunfire. I came back. She shot back. One of the hunters fired. The blast was aimed at Elias's back. She didn't think, didn't hesitate. She moved between them, the seed's light flaring from inside her chest. The blast hit the light and vanished into nothing. The hunters froze. Even Elias stared. The leader hissed, the seed has bonded to her. Kill the human. Bring her. They charged. The fight was chaos. Elias moving like a storm, every shot precise. Every step meant to shield her. She fought too, not with weapons, but with the seed's strange power, bending light, shattering their green energy bolts mid-air. But for every hunter they dropped, more poured in. The bridge floor cracked under the strain. Elias grabbed her arm, pulling her toward the helm. We can't win here, but we can take them with us. She stared at him. That will kill us both. He gave a fierce grin. I told you before. I'm thinking about everyone. The seed pulsed in her chest, as if hearing him. And for the first time, it agreed. The controls lit up under their hands. The ship's core overloaded, power surging until the air burned. The leader of the hunters lunged. Too late. White light tore through the bridge dot, and then nothing. Asterisk, the whisper at first. There was no sound dot, just white. Endless white. And the strange feeling of falling without moving. She opened her eyes and realized she was lying on soft grass. The sky above her wasn't the cold black of space. It was deep gold, as if the sun had never set here. Crystal towers rose in the distance, their surfaces reflecting light in colors she'd never seen before. It was her home, not destroyed, not burning. She sat up, heart pounding. How? A shadow fell over her. Elias stood there, alive. His armor was scorched, his rifle gone, but his eyes were the same. She stared. You shouldn't be here. He smiled faintly. Yeah, well, you shouldn't either. Asterisk, she looked around. This isn't real, is it? His expression shifted, serious now. The seed pulled us out, protected us in whatever this is. Before she could answer, a sound rolled across the grass, like distant thunder, but heavier. The horizon darkened. The black sun symbol began to form in the sky. They found us, she whispered. Elias crouched in front of her, his voice steady despite the storm building overhead. You said the seed can find your people, take you to them. She shook her head. It can, but if they follow, they'll follow, Elias said. That's why you need me. She blinked at him. Why? Why risk everything for me? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he leaned closer, so close his voice was barely above a breath. Stay with me forever. The words hit her harder than any blast. Not because they were sweet, because they were true. In those 4 words, she saw something she had never seen before, a future where she wasn't alone, a future where someone fought for her not because of what she carried, but because of who she was. And for the first time, she wanted that future. The ground shook. The black sun split open, pouring shadows across the golden sky. The hunters were coming. Elias stood, offering her his hand. So what's it going to be? You keep running, or we make them wish. They never found you? She took his hand. The seed pulsed between them, light spilling out until it burned away the shadow. And just before the world shattered again, she whispered back, "And we fight together." The light roared, and the story of the girl with no home and the human who refused to let her die was only just beginning.